So Mr. Soap and Clay just popped his head in here as I was getting ready to, you know, do the things and say hi to you, and told me he was going out to the pontoon. And that made me really jealous because I want to go out to the pontoon tonight too. So I'm going to keep this part kind of short because, you know, yeah, you're not really always here for just this. Anyway, so I'm going to say hello. I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 316 of 365 days of soap, and we are doing the Soaprentice's Intaglio, which is going to be awesome. And you remember the thing that I said yesterday about how you want to make sure that you get your just a thin light layer on the bottom of your mold so you don't have to dig too terribly far into the soap to release the color in your pattern. Yeah, that's not what happened with Georgia Mays. And so you get to see how the unbelievable, always amazing, never fails at anything Soaprentice fixes her problem of all of the colored portion of this soap being right smack dab in the middle of the bar. Okay, so first up, it's Intaglio, not Intaglio. I am ridiculous with pronunciation. I also like that quote that somebody, I don't know where the quote came from, but it was something to the effect of don't ever make fun of someone who mispronounces a word, because that means that they learned it through reading. Like they read the word before they heard the word. That's the whole last thing. So, but it's Intaglio. So that's awesome. And yeah, we are doing the Intaglio Soap Challenge from Amy Warden's Soap Challenge, and it's Georgia May's turn. And we're still using the Lonestar Hershey's chocolate dupe thing, and she's working with 4 different colors in here. So that's cool. She's gonna have just a panoply of bright, mouth-watering, carved designs that look good enough to eat when it's all said and done. I'm certain of it, because she's awesome and great at all the things. Now, she actually opted to take quite a bit more soap out of her big batch for her base layer. So she's putting in there probably 12-ish ounces. So kind of twice what I was doing. And so that's cool. Let's see how this all goes down. And you can, you know, sort of gauge how much soap is too much with for the base in order to carve through. Like, this might be perfect. You might be able to do this as well. Now, she did put it on the heating pad, the slab on the heating pad, intentionally, because she wanted to make sure that it started firming up as quickly as possible so she could pour in her other colors. And her other colors are actually getting, everything's a little bit thick right now. And so that may just be a user preference. This is how she wanted to soap and do the things, and that's awesome. I didn't notice any problems with thickness in my soap, and we use the exact same oil blend. So this may have been a design choice in what she wanted to do. But, you know, sorry, actually the Soaprentice was literally just texting me at this exact moment. Oh, this is interesting. I like that. So doing like a paint splatter technique to get it onto the surface of the soap that's underneath. That's a good idea, for sure. We can roll with that. Now, I didn't see her scent these portions, which is good. I like that she didn't scent these portions here, these colored portions. I don't think I had the conversation with her about not doing that, but she has been doing this long enough that she understands that there are things that you can do. Like, you can still get your total fragrance, you know, blend in, like your percentages in less soap, really, in order to keep areas that you don't want discolored the color that you want them. And so, yeah, she just probably didn't, you know, again, didn't know if it was going to discolor or not, but assumed that it was going to because it says chocolate, and she did all the things because she's great at all of the things. And that's actually a cool way to do this. This is going to be a very fascinating cut to see all these different colors coming out. And I love that, just watching the paint splatter type technique just go into the mold at all. That's fun for sure. Her particular bar, this is going to go through gel and C-pop only because when she made this, I had actually not unmolded mine yet. We actually made these on the same day, and if I had seen my color, that weird scent thing, that weird discoloration that was on mine, if I had seen that before she poured hers, I would have actually had her not C-pop hers just to see if she still got any discoloration with like that, because that was a little bit weird. And so I'm wondering if the extra heat phase had something to do with it. Again, I've never seen anything quite like that in all of the blends that I've used in my life. So yeah, this is so far not so good for Lonestar. Now, I don't actually know that I talked about the scent itself yesterday and what it smells like. I wouldn't say it smells like Hershey's chocolate, but it definitely smells sweet. So, I mean, if you called it Hershey's chocolate and it looks like a chocolate bar, the brain of your consumer will fill in the blanks and go, oh yeah. But for me personally, it didn't hit for me, but you know, it smelled delightful after saponification. It smells really good. It's just not like, oh yeah, damn, that's Hershey's chocolate. It was just kind of chocolate. And, you know, that's fine too. Chocolate's great. So, but yeah, so that's, I don't think that we would actually call it Hershey's chocolate anyway, just because, you know, whatever. And we come up with different names for our soaps. And yeah, her brown is way different than mine was too. I think she used Sexy Stranger on a Train for her brown, which is cool. And I look forward to actually seeing them together in this, like next to each other, to see the two differences in the browns. But yeah, she definitely has a different brown tone to hers than I did with mine. But again, this is going into the oven for C-pop and gel and all of the jazz, but not before Georgia May decorates the top. Now, it almost looks like she has just a little bit more soap batter to put on the top than she put on in the middle or on the bottom. And so that actually kind of does concern me, because if your color, the thing is, if your colors are all just in the middle of the bar, you're going to have to do some very serious carving to actually release the colored portion. That's why you shouldn't put very much on your bottom layer, so you can see those colors really nicely just with a little bit of carving. And I don't know, those two sides look kind of similar. I'm concerned about where her colors are actually going to ultimately end up with all of this. And if they're in the middle, oh, but she's got a little bit of orange kind of peeking through up here. They might be at the top. Like that might be what she's working with. And so, I mean, that's fine. You can carve the top if that's where it ended up being. I just really hope it's not like directly in the middle for her. But no, I mean, how easy it is to start, yeah, pulling away to see that green. That's, I think they're at the top. But she's going to decorate the top. So that's an issue. So much of this is always experimentation and so much fun though, right? Like when you were doing a soap for the very first time, a huge part of, well, maybe not you specifically, but for me, a huge part of this is just experimenting and playing. Like, well, what happens if I do this, right? How necessary is this step? Can I get away with it, with not doing it? And so she's, for that reason, she's playing. And you guys are along for this ride, and she can play on your behalf. And we all play on your behalf, so you can see the other mistakes or the techniques that you can hack and all of the things, so you don't have to, you know, be the one that stresses out about the things. But let's go check out Georgia May's carving skills now, because you know she has those in mass quantity. And yeah, like sure enough, she actually unmolded this while I was in the shop, and she was talking to the and she was talking to me after she unmolded it, and she was like, oh yeah, all of my colors are closer to the top, but I already, you know, I designed the top. I wanted it to be textured. And I'm like, well, why don't you take one of our impression mats to the bottom, because it's still kind of soft, and create, you know, new texture in the bottom of the soap, and then just flip it around and do the thing. So that's what she's doing here, which is a great idea. So she's going to have some sort of textured pattern on both sides of her soap, which is awesome. So yeah, the amount that you of soap that you put into the mold, it actually is important. You want a reasonably thin layer down there, so you don't have to do this. But now you know, and I'm interested to see just exactly where the colors end up. I also don't exactly know how she determined necessarily that they were too far on the top. I mean, I can see a little blue in that lower right hand corner there, and that could suggest that she looked at that and saw, okay, it's in the middle. And so middle slash maybe closer to the top. But also we saw the green that was coming through at the other, on the other side when she was swirling. And so, yeah, no, it's a safe assumption that they're definitely, you know, there at the top. So now comes Georgia May's carving, and she spent probably 20 minutes just standing there looking at this. Like, what should I carve into it? What should I do? And I think in her mind, some sort of big, crazy whatever was going on. And finally, she just went, you know, no, I'm gonna, here's this. And she set to work, and she was doing the things and all of this jazz for probably another 45-ish minutes, I would say, carving her little soap, which is great because that's about the time that I spent on mine too. I found it to be very therapeutic and awesome. But Georgia was actually doing this in the middle of the shop on a Saturday, so it was crazy busy, lots of people running in and out, and I don't think she was actually finding this enjoyable, which was interesting to me, because I thought that she would have really dug something like this, because it's like art, right? But every artist has their different medium, and clay may not be her medium, may not be anything that she's even remotely interested in. Like, she will sit down and knit and crochet things like she did last month. She made, but she made those out of clay. So she made the worm, the Ello worm from Labyrinth, right? The blue guy with the red hair and all the, or the blue guy with like the red scarf and everything. So cute, so adorable. She actually has them for sale. I don't know if she still has them for sale, but they're on her Etsy. They were on her Etsy. And she will, and then she decided to knit or crochet a something, one of the Chili Down with the Fire Gang guys from Labyrinth, also from Labyrinth, that as she was sending me pictures, I was concerned it was going to end up like full size, right? And that would just be terrifying at that point, because those guys were terrifying in the Labyrinth. Do you remember? Yes. But yeah, she's so she does art. My point is, her art mediums are things that I super find very tedious, that I would never do. Like just the idea of sitting down and crocheting. I mean, I try, but I can only sit there for like 5 or 10 minutes before I have to get up and move around. And so once I master the technique to the point where I can, you know, go for a run on my treadmill while crocheting, which is a terrible idea because of needle and stabbing and danger. you know, I'll do it more often, but for now it doesn't super work out for me. But no, she was not, I get the feeling she wasn't really enjoying this. And, you know, that's interesting because I really super did enjoy this. Although one of the reasons why maybe she didn't enjoy this is because she was having kind of a difficult time exposing the color, because it looks like the color itself is very much firmly in the middle of this bar. And I still think it's okay though, is the thing. Like, the carving itself is beautiful. And that provides interesting, you know, that makes interesting bars, even if you're not bringing a color out. But she had to go pretty far down into that hole to actually get the color in. And so that could be another reason why she got, you know, kind of frustrated with the whole process, because she hates wasted soap as much as I do. And so maybe she saw this as some sort of waste, but all that's beautiful. Yeah, roll with that. Deep circles and then the other little scroll bits. I think that's a great idea. And so she had found her groove at this point. She hit her stride and yeah, started really getting into it, I think, at this point. And maybe it was just I needed to figure out my path and then, you know, whatever. But yeah, let's go check out her cut and all of the things. So this was her final piece of her, this is what it all ended up looking like when it was all said and done. And that's beautiful. That is so gorgeous. And I love the texture and all of the cool things. And getting into, yeah, really carving out those circles to release the color. It's a great idea. So you have little subtle pops of color, which is great. I mean, mine also had subtle pops of color. I didn't go crazy with the, you know, the carving and doing whatever. So yes. Oh, speaking of discoloration, colors and discolorations, you see that lower right hand corner? Yeah, hers experienced it too. So this is the scent. This is the scent that did this discoloration. That is not cool. It is super weird. I don't like it. And so far, not so great with Lonestar. The scent itself stuck really well though, is the thing. So that's cool. And you expected a discoloration, so that's cool. I didn't expect that though. That's weird discoloration. So I'm not 100% sure what that's about. But yeah, so this is, I don't know. I don't exactly know where I stand on this yet. Also, I really don't think I should know where I stand on this yet, because we're only a few challenges in. We've only worked with a few scents. But that's very weird discoloration. Scent's great though. Scent survives saponification like nobody's business. So there's that. Keep that in mind. And we'll see what it does as it continues to cure up and settle into whatever discoloration it's ultimately going to do. But I'm gonna, you know, tease you with all of the bars just like I did mine and cut them all face down so we can reveal the individual patterns all at once. So that'll be, you know, cool. And we're gonna do that now. I had to go clean off my knife, but yeah, that's beautiful. And no, I mean, she's, I would mostly call that dead middle. Like that's where all of her colors ended up, is dead middle for sure. So that was very cool of her that she figured a workaround around this. Like, how do I get a color through in the easiest fashion without wasting a ton of soap way possible? And I think that did it. Those little circles, I think that did it. It's beautiful. That's a perfect, wonderful, perfect idea for that, for sure. And then create some really interesting depth and texture. And that's one of the points of these Intaglio designs, right? You have to, there's different shading techniques involved in that. It's kind of like the people who get really into like jack-o'-lantern carving, right? Pumpkin carving. My brother is one of those people, and his wife is as well. They'll do different shading within their cuts, like cut it deeper on one portion of, like, you know, an eye to really give the eye depth and dimension and look like an eye. And so that's part of the whole thing too. So I like that. I like what she did with all of those. Those are really super pretty bars for sure. The coloring is wildly different between hers and mine for sure. Like wildly different. And that's that's also cool because hers has kind of like the rustic hue to it, and then it has very kind of looks like trees, like tree bark when it's all said and done, and a chocolate tree. That's like Willy Wonka, right? That's badass. Like we can get behind that. Speaking of Willy Wonka, I think that's actually one of the soap challenges, like a current challenge that's going on, I think for March. So that's fun. I think we might actually participate live for that one because that would be cool. But yeah, those are really cool. I do. I think it looks kind of like bark or something. And yeah, look at that. Wildly different. Two very different bars as far as technique and color and design and all the things. Both smell of chocolate. All are amazing. They're great and they were fun. And I think Georgia ultimately had fun after. Like she figured out where she was going with all of it. And look what she did. She created beautiful art in soap. And that's awesome. And I bet it'll be fun with that texture to actually use in the shower. That is day 316. So I really don't think there's a way to actually mess up the intaglio, in all honesty. Like even if there were no colors at all, as you could see with Georgia May's like sort of swirly bits, it was still pretty because you're carving into the soap and doing the things. Totally. So you're only limited by your actual, imagination and creativity and desire to continue carving into soaps. So yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. As far as something that I would actually put in my line, I wouldn't do it on the regular because, it's actually taking a lot of soap off the thing, and we both spent at least 45 minutes carving our slab, and so there's not a good ROI on that. But for the challenge thing, that was cool. And for the limited edition thing, also cool. If you are interested in either one of these soaps from mine yesterday and Georgia May's today, you can find them on the website at soapandclay.com, limited edition bar. And that browning that I experienced yesterday with mine, it's actually, I was able to like clean it off and it's fine now, which is something to keep in mind with this Hershey's Cocoa thing. But again, Lonestar, you're killing me right now. Yeah. So anyway, the soaps themselves, they smell great, they look great, they perform great, all of the things, and they are available on the website. So that's cool. If you're interested in following me on social media, I'm there, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Cool. If you're interested in subscribing, that would be awesome. I would super appreciate that. And you could do that thing. Click that button and yay. For those of you who have clicked that button, yay. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I'm out of here for today. As I said, I'm heading out to the pontoon. So I will see you guys all tomorrow for another round of 365 days of soap. Bye.